Yep.
or
Okay.
something.
There, I just did it. It's recording.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and let Libby had a few things she wanted to share. So I'm going to let Libby go first.
Hi, everybody. First question is, has everybody been reviewed about the new block that we're replacing with front?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, then, all right. Okay, well, I guess that scratches that question. Yeah, I last minute.
Libby, one of the things we're working on, and everybody's going to be getting it soon, we're rewriting the puppy manual to
Okay,
make it more user-friendly and up to date. So what Libby's talking about is we've been requested by ADI, all the ADI programs, not to use the word block for our veterans. So we're switching it to using front. For some reason, block, they don't want to approve it for working with the PTSD. So that's what Libby's talking about there. So we're just changing it.
yeah, I was just, I know the decision was made to just bring the dog in front position, which I like that because it is creating more space. But just in the past couple of days in using it, it's challenging. The dogs are not wanting to do a front. They're actually wanting to turn around and face the person. And getting them into that position before someone is actually approaching us is taking more time. Whereas the old position of block, they just kind of naturally came in front. I'm just throwing this out there and see what you guys think and see what you're experiencing. Another thing is, you know how some clients, they like their dog to default right into the block position. I find it now with the front, it's a bit more challenging because it's a lot more movement. And by the time the dog gets in there, the person is already on you. I'm going to give it a few more days and just see if it does start flowing better. I'm just throwing that out there, see what everybody else is.
I have a question. So is block now what we know as front, where your dog comes around and sits and looks at you?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So no longer, I mean, I don't as a puppy raiser use block anyway. We use front, and I didn't think block came until they got to you.
And Libby, we need to just let that go. And we may make, the front just more of a sideways thing than instead of a straight front. So
it's too soon to bring that up. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and these guys need more of the basics.
Yes.
Because a lot of these guys are new. We're talking into advanced stuff right now that's really irrelevant to this game.
Okay. So Libby, what else did you have? Anything else that you were wanting to ask or tell?
Libby, you were talking about the socialization of too much. The dogs are too into people.
Yes. Okay. And we're still having this issue. We had it today with a dog who's got excellent skills. They want to go to people. They're wanting to approach strangers. I have given the argument, I feel we need to take away make a friend. Personally, a dog wearing a vest should never, ever want to approach another human being. It's okay to social. I understand. Yes, the puppies need socialized. There are many ways to socialize a dog without a human ever touching them. It's become an issue. I have come down to where I want to record where I go and stand at the entrance of Costco, and every human that comes near me, the dog will pull to go to the other human that is going by. They're not even walking to me, they're just walking by, and the dog is going up to them. They're just wanting to be way too social. I think it's a problem. But I do understand dogs need to be socialized. They can be socialized without a human going up and petting them and engaging with them, I guess is what the word I should say, engaging. You can go up to a tall male stranger with a puppy and say, can I ask you a favor? Can you please just greet the dog, maybe touch him, give a little bit of tactile, give him a little treat, and then, reward the puppy or whatever, and then let it be there. We don't want to overkill it because then the puppy is going to expect every stranger to want to engage with them.
Right.
It's
yes. Well, I think they're even coming out of prison like that. And I don't know if it's because they haven't been with people in so long. They just want to make a friend with everybody. But I'm finding that even the dogs who come out of prison are wanting to make a friend.
And
Absolutely.
our clients are having a hard time because they're trying to, like, this dog just wants to go to everybody and they're being pulled and jerked and yanked.
Mhm.
So we've got to really, and I know you guys want to socialize and let everybody greet and know that's a beautiful dog and they want to say hello. And it's so hard to say no, but you need to practice it ahead of time. We do that with our clients. No, I'm really sorry. This dog has to learn to concentrate on me. You know, come up with what you say before you get put into that position.
Yep.
Practice it in advance. Practice it with your friends. You know, somebody's coming over, please, you know, walk past my dog. I'm going to make sure he doesn't go up and say hello to you.
Right.
Set them up for success. And, you know, it's just, these guys are too friendly.
Now, and there are different ways to socialize. You know, you can have grandkids come over or whatever, and the dog can be out of vest and they can socialize with the puppy and do friendly things with the puppy. So the dog is associating good things with tall or big men or men with beards or whatever, men with hats and glasses. But when you're out with a puppy and invest in training, they need to understand that when they're around other humans, they should just sit there and ignore them. You know, I mean, because the reality is, if these are medical alert dogs, they are not going to medical alert you 2 seconds before a seizure because they are too occupied with wanting to engage with strangers.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you know, we don't deal with medical alert. You know, God, I lost my. Oh, with the prison situation, I'm not sure. You know, this is something we can discuss with the trainers. I think what might be happening with the prison situation is they're letting other inmates engage with the dogs when the guys are hanging out. And I think it's happening and they don't realize it's happening. You know,
I've had 2 prison pups who are into like the play biting. They'll like get very aggressive with biting me to the point like I didn't have the manual yet, so I wasn't even sure what to do. Like they were biting me really hard, like drawing blood. So I don't know if
and you know, that's funny you should say that because this last group, I'm seeing more dogs that are really, really mouthy and jumping. Maybe can we find out if there's a consistency if it's one prison? Is it possible that there's an inmate or two that is roughhousing with these dogs a little too much? Because we do have 2 dogs right now that are still breaking skin and mouthing that bad.
Yeah, both of the ones I had were from same prison, but the trainer that I met with, he seemed like he really had it, you know, well in hand, but I think it might be like other people are doing that with the dogs
as well. Yeah.
Yep. Tank is doing that. When he see first thing he sees me, and boy, no. So he's starting it just in a week. He's doing it less, but when I first got him, he was like, "Let me have your arm," and not hard, but no, that's not a thing. So yeah.
Some of the Goldens can be really mouthy, and I had to teach Wyland to go get a toy because I had to teach him no body parts.
Exactly. That.
And so he's been taught. I mean, even now at 9.5, I come home and say, "Get a toy," because he's trying to grab. He's so insistent. One of the tricks too is taking your couple fingers and just kind of put them towards the back of their throat, and they'll go, you know, and they'll be less likely to. But also be ready and have maybe a toy by the door or.
Lost her. Is freezing on? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So anything else, Libby, that you wanted to share?
Well, and that she said exactly what I was going to say. You know, they are puppies, and some of them are super have extra anxiety, and you know, just stuff an Nylabone or stuff something in their mouth so that they can release that anxiety and bite that. Like Janet said, teach them to go bite a Nylabone or something instead of the skin. You know, I'm finding some dogs that are overly anxious with leash work is stick something in their mouth when you're walking them. It helps them kind of cope with the anxiety, I guess, if that's what you want to call it.
Good. Okay. Anything else?
Unmuted.
Yeah, that's good. No.
Okay. So
One of the things that I've done with puppies that get mouthy is the same thing that other puppies in the litter would do, is you give a high-pitched yip. Because that indicates to them and something they really understand, they got too rough. And if they start to nip at you or mouth you, and then you give them a toy, it's actually rewarding them for doing that. So I wouldn't give them anything like that. I would place myself out of their way, withdraw all attention until they've calmed down. And then if they actually make any contact, high-pitched yip will help.
Right. And you know what, you're very right. With a puppy, that works, because puppies were born with sharp teeth for a reason, and that is to correct another puppy that's playing too hard. So that the sharp teeth was for the teeth to let the other dog know that, okay, you know, and the screech or the yip that you're talking about is to say, hey, you bit me too hard. But when we're dealing with older adult dogs that are so amped up, that doesn't work. You have to redirect it and rechannel it somewhere else. And they will, like Janet was saying, eventually they will learn, okay, I'm excited, I'm gonna go grab this instead. And if you watch what Wyland does, he'll sit there and he just shakes his body and he's biting the nylabone and he's moaning, but he's coping with it. He's channeling it. He's rechanneling it through another way. And then within minutes, he's done and over with it. And then he's settled.
Right.
But you're so correct about with the young puppies, definitely go that route. But the older dogs, you know, when I'm getting a dog is 2 years old, he's been doing this bad habit for 2 years, and now he has to quit. So it's kind of like you're smoking for 6 years, and now you come to me and I'm telling you have to quit. It's not that easy.
Right.
The problem is, and I'm not pointing fingers or blaming anybody, is this dog developed this behavior because it was allowed for 2 years, and so now we have to figure out a way to change it without killing him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Okay, so our first question is, how do you stop the dog being so interested in other dogs? He is not aggressive, just tries hard to get to them to play. So I know for me, that's the kind of what I'm dealing with Tank. And I make him sit and I will wait till the dog goes by. Or I will be I'm very firm with him anyway, but I'm like, Tank, leave it. Last night there were some kids and they had a dog and he won, and I was like, and we didn't go the other direction. We just kept walking and I just kept saying, leave it, Tank, leave it. And he did eventually, but part of it is firmness. You got to be firm.
Right. And if you start when they're young, you know, a butt on the ground is a safe position. The dog's butt is on the ground. You know, you have less, the dog has less advantage of getting his face into another dog. With the young puppies, because I know there's different age brackets here, with the young puppies, just right away start teaching them sit and you want to keep their focus with you, on you. Okay. Engage with them the whole time that person with the dog or bicycle or whatever is driving by. Keep that engagement with them, you know, whatever it is. If you have to take a squeaker toy with them, do that. You know, you want to keep the focus and engagement on you during all that chaos so that they're not interested in that. Right. And and you're going to have times where it's not going to work. And when you don't see success, then move away from it. You know, you do want to move away. Start with baby steps, work at distances. If you have a dog that doesn't like bicycles, don't start with a kid coming up on a bicycle 10 feet away. Start 50 feet away. Sometimes trainers they'll work on a football field and start that far away. You know, you judge it and work their way up to the close proximity. Older dogs, you know, one thing I highly suggest before you even go out the door, before you even start training with the dog, do engagement work with them. Because it's just like school, okay? You have a 5-year-old kid or a 6-year-old kid. If you are not engaged with them, Wendy, you're not going to get their focus. They aren't going to hear anything you tell them, right?
Yep.
Same thing with the dog. Get their engagement. Sit there and train your markers. Sit there and go, yes, bam, hit him with the treat. You know, yes, bam, hit him with the treat. Yes, give them tactile, pet them on the head. Okay, all you need is 5 minutes of that. Okay, now you've got them going, oh, okay, this is good. I like this. You got their focus. Now you can go on to training, whatever it is. If it's practicing sit, practicing going out the door or leash work. And then that was something else I wanted to get into, are markers. A lot of these dogs are coming to us not knowing their markers. I don't know how much you want me to cover on this, so want me
We've
to keep
been
talking?
talking about that, Libby, on all of our trainings, just using your markers, how important they are, that the dog, and it has to be, it's a timing thing.
It's
So,
very much, because
yes.
if you can Google it, it's everywhere on the internet, but classical condition, the way markers, training markers via classical conditioning, the only way a dog is going to learn it and process it is you cannot be doing both at the same time. You cannot be going yes and handing them the treat at the same time, because all their focus, all their processing is the treat. They're not processing the yes. You want to say yes, then give them the treat. And don't be worried about slow delay. You do not even want to be going back for the treat or reaching for the treat when you say yes. You want to just be standing there, go. The best way to be prepared is have a handful of treats in left hand if you're right-handed. Okay, take one, put it in your right hand. And you don't want the dog to know that you're really fumbling. Don't be messing with the treats so much that the dog is so focused on the treats. And then just have the dog on leash, and then just say the word yes, and then put move the treat down, have the dog come to the treat. The first 1 or 2 times the dog might be kind of clueless, but once he realizes that treat is coming after a yes, by the time you're saying that third yes, he's going to be onto it. And then do it a couple more times, come from different positions. One of these days, I want to do some simple videos so that you guys can get a better picture of it. Doing that engagement work, really, when the dogs know the marker, I can be walking down a sidewalk and I can just sit there, and if they look up at me, I go, yes. Oh, okay, now they're focused. Start with the treat, and then you fade the treat to where the yes is, eventually, you want to throw in a treat or some tactile with just petting them. You want to, what they call recharging the battery. After the dog understands the marker and you can do it without a treat, every once in a blue moon, throw in a reward there. You just want to reinforce it. Okay, every once in a while, something's coming.
So our markers are yes, and that's it. And well, these are the ones I use. Yes, that's it, and good job.
You also have the or no.
Well, yes. Okay.
That's a marker as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I use that.
Yeah. Something I don't know what other trainers are in there, but something that I like working with is the 2 markers, which is yes, which means you've completed the task.
Right.
And then I like we're using the word good, which is like a duration. In other words, let's say I want a puppy to sit, and that's all I want from him. So he sits, and then I mark it with a yes, and bam, he can get up from that sit to get the reward. Okay, because all I asked was a sit. Now I'm into a sit stay, the duration. So now I'm going to ask him to sit, and I'm going to throw in stay, or I'm just going to say sit. I'm not going to move. I know I'm not going to mark it, and I'm just going to sit. He's going to sit. So after a few seconds, I'm going to mark it with a good, and then bring the reward to his mouth so he doesn't move. But I don't know if that's too technical for everybody. The good is a duration marker, whereas the yes is you've done the task, you've done what I asked, and that's something, I don't know, Janet, we want to talk later about, but
okay. Did you want to
I use that good as well, but like say if I say wait, I'll say wait, and then as I'm going, especially with the dogs that I've just started with, I will say good wait, and I will use that to remind. I use good, but I attach the word, the command to it too, and then as soon as I get back, it's especially with a newer dog, it's a puppy party. I usually don't use a lot of treating, especially because I've got a lab and that's all they think of. But I'll play with them, I'll pet them. It's very, that's a cool thing. But I will do that. I attach the command that I'm working so that they are hearing that.
Yes, and that works as well, because you're adding that marker in with the good.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. What's the difference between give it and drop it? Which one is used when? So, I mean, I know the difference. I'm sure most of us do, but some of us don't. So,
Okay, so
whoever wants to address that.
that's going to explain my next thing that I'm going to talk about then. Can
Okay.
anybody answer that? I'd like to hear from a volunteer if they can answer the difference between.
Yeah, who thinks they know the difference?
Give it would be put it in your hand, and drop it would be let it go.
Yeah, drop it at your feet.
And why are the two important?
Can I correct that first before we
Yep.
move on?
Well, I miss what, and it's give, it's not give it.
Right,
Right.
right. Yes.
It's
And-
give and it's not give it, and it's drop it. We rarely have you guys using drop it.
Yes.
Give, we want to focus on bringing it to the hand.
Right.
Which when give is when you have a grip on it,
Mhm.
and then you say, be careful that you're not saying give before your hand's there.
Yes.
Think about somebody like myself that has limited hand use. You want to have grip on it before that dog releases it from its mouth.
And that's it. Give is they're holding on to the retrieve item until you have it. When you say give, they open their mouth and they either let it go or back it out, back away from it. So one challenge, tape up 3 of your fingers and try and now work on retrieve. And you'll be surprised how many times you're going to drop it because the dog has not learned to literally hold on to it until you have a grip, just like Janet explains. If you want to really make it challenging. I do see a lot of people reach for it and then say give before they actually have a hold of it. So
Okay.
put that, work on that. Okay, they are to
Focus on
hold
breaking
on to it.
the hand.
They're to hold on to that item until you say give. And if you want to make it challenging, if your dog has had a good retrieve, sit there and I'll work on taking it and I will pull on it. And they should not let it go until I say give.
And so the only time I use drop it is if they have something in their mouth that they got a hold of and I didn't get it quick enough. That's when I use drop it. Is there any other time you would use drop it?
I have them put something up on like the counter or up on, if I'm at this grocery
Yeah.
store and I'm having them put something onto the little belt, I'll use drop it there.
Right. Or drop it in the trash can. Or if it's something you don't want them to have and they need to drop it.
Right.
Oh,
right. Normally
if
that's
they-
when I use it.
Go ahead, Robin, sorry.
This is Ann.
If they drop it too soon, if they let go, you say give or they drop it before they've got it to you. They got it, they brought it, but then they drop it. Before you've said give, they drop it. What's the sequence then to get it back to you appropriately?
That's a good
You need to
question.
go back. Okay. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with back chaining. The most important thing a dog should have before you even start training retrieve is a good solid hold. Okay. And honestly, if all of you guys could just get a good solid hold from a dog, the rest of it it just is easy, So you want to go back you want to go back to a hold, go back to working the hold. If they cannot bring it to you and hold on to it, just work on the hold. I mean, literally like have them put it in their mouth. And then here's something else you got to be careful of. Okay. Be careful of how you put it in their mouth. I see a lot of people putting, like say you're working with a dumbbell. I see them putting it in the dog's mouth as they say, get it. Okay. They're not getting it. You're putting it in their mouth. You can stand there and hold it and say, get it. And they should go after it. Like this is the dumbbell. I'm going to hold it and say, get it. They should go like that. It shouldn't be like this, get it, so be aware of that. And if you struggle with that, then that's another lesson there, but we're working on the hold right now. So have them get it. Some dogs may not, okay. You may even want to leave get it out and just stick with hold. Just put it in their mouth without saying anything. Put it in their mouth and just work on hold, and then make them walk around holding it, and just you work it like this is one target that I've been wanting every, puppy raisers to teach dogs, and it's a chin rest target. And part of that is to keep settle hold. But that's another thing. So we'll stick with the hold. See, now you guys got me going now. But yeah, so just work on the hold. Whatever works. I find tactile, like I'll touch them because their mind is like, oh, they're touching me, and they forget they have something in their mouth. So they actually hold it longer. And remember to reward that. Good hold, good hold. Don't push it too long though. Baby steps, okay? Go very short with the duration of the hold. You may be asking them to bring it too far too soon. It could be that.
If you have an item and the dog is not at the point where they're getting it, like they're taking it from you, do you just put it in their mouth and then tell them to hold? Because you want them to learn to hold.
Right. If they're not at the point where they can get it,
okay,
they understand what get it means, then yes, just put it in their mouth, don't say anything, and then work on hold.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Next, for the 6-month-old puppies.
Hold on, I want to add one thing.
Okay.
On the whole thing, just be careful, especially with the young puppies, that you're not correcting
Jana, you're freezing up on us.
You're freezing.
Okay. Am I still freezing?
Not now.
You're good now.
Okay. Be careful that you don't overcorrect a puppy for picking something up.
Right.
You don't want to extinguish that retrieve drive. If they get a hold of something that they're not supposed to have, it's like, all right, bring it here, puppy. I know you got my best shoe, you little brat, but you got to reward them for bringing it to you. Encourage that, even if it's my best pair of shoes.
Yep. Be excited when you're telling them they're a little brat.
Yes. Be all excited and tell them, but what you can't correct them. Don't, because it can ruin them for later. If they've been told they're not allowed to retrieve, to try to undo that damage is really hard.
Yes. Yep. Okay. 6-month-old puppies or young puppies that they're uncomfortable getting into an SUV. What is the best way to ease them into it?
Associate something good with it. Feed them dinner in the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It may not start with them jumping in. If you have to put them in it, they'll start associating. Oh wow, that's where dinner is. Do that for 3 days, and you watch. Day 4, they're going to jump right in and go eat.
Yeah.
And try to do it when you're not in a rush trying to go somewhere.
Right.
Right.
Do it when you've got time to make it fun.
Okay, I'll call you when I'm done.
Yep. Yeah, and if they're young and you're trying to get them in the SUV and it's too high, you've got to give them time to help find a spot in the car or the SUV that they can kind of get into. Whether that's the back seat on the floor where they're climbing up by the floor, just somewhere where they're able to get in.
Some of these older guys that haven't been in the vehicles because they've been in prison, practice having them do jump-ons on simpler things. On a set of steps, on a couch, on a bed, on the bench, or practice the jump on so that they learn their body awareness of how to jump.
If Goodwill's great for having those old aerobic step up things, buy one of them and put it in the back of or on the side of your vehicle to give them a little boost. But you start with shorter heights and then work your way to higher, take it away eventually. It is too big.
I have them for just the weekend. So I was like, okay, I don't want to ruin their behaviors it took 15-20 minutes and they weren't really comfortable getting in the car. And I finally was like, okay, I need to pick them up because, we're going from the prison back to my home. So I just want to know if that's okay for me to pick them up if it's after a really long time of them being really nervous.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Part of it could also, you want to set them up for success. You don't want to have overstress them. If that's what it has to come down to at that moment, do what you got to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Janet was saying, there could be some stress going on there because they're leaving their handler, the inmate. So have something in the car, positive association, good association. Have something in the car that the puppy's gonna like, a toy that it might like or something. So once you pick it up and toss them in the car, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, oh, okay, there's something here to play with or something, you wanna associate good things with these experiences.
Yep. Okay, did that help? Next question, how do I curb pulling? So I'm sure there's a few people that have this, pulling to constantly sniff in the grass, pulling to get to people walking by, pulling to sniff around when we get someplace new. And I know for me, the dogs I've had, if I find that that's an issue, I do not let them 2 inches from me. Like I keep them right next to me. I don't let them do that. I just don't let them. If I know sniffing in the grass is an issue, if I know pulling to get to people, I don't let them do that. Or we'll go in a different direction or.
Yep.
You know.
Are we talking young puppies or all
Well,
ages?
in this case, I know it's Owen. He's an older dog.
Yeah, Libby, it's Rochelle. It's Owen. He's 26, 27 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a
But
big boy.
like you tell him to go busy and he wants to drag you down the entire stretch of grass to find the good spot that smells.
Nope.
So
Yeah, what you have to remember, somebody in a wheelchair can't go strolling all through a field.
I
So
know.
stand there and give him the leash length in the grass from the sidewalk. And if you stand there long enough, and if he really has to go, he'll go. And if not, then maybe he doesn't have to go because all he wants to do is sniff instead.
Yep.
You need to hold your ground on that.
Yeah, we've
Now,
talked
an
about
older dog, what I would suggest at this point with him, I would work on his focus and his position going out the door and going down the sidewalk. And it may take you days to only get down the sidewalk to where he is staying in your heel position and focused on you. At this point, you're going to have to, do you have like a fenced in backyard where he can go busy?
I do, but it gets really wet. And so I don't want to let him out because then he's going to get all muddy. So I've been taking him out in the front of the house where there's a sidewalk, but I tried to keep taking him to the same spot, but he is so strong that he pulls so hard. Sometimes he can knock me off my feet, which is what I'm worried about future wise. So that's why I want to try to curb it now, but I do try to just give him the length of the leash, but then all of a sudden he takes off because he got a smell of a duck or something else in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's anticipation. Like you have to anticipate that he's going to do that and you have to stop him.
Right. And I even walk him with his vest on, even just to go busy. I walk him with his vest on because I want him to associate that when he's outside of my house, that he needs to be, he still needs to listen to my rules.
Oh, and no.
Does he look sorry?
Yes. Hi, buddy.
But that's
by the engagement before you go out the door.
Okay.
Look, dogs come to me. If I can't get their focus to get through the gate, guess what? We're not going past the gate, which means, well, you're going to potty. Well, in your situation, then you may have to just let him go potty out back and then work on going through the front door and walking down the sidewalk before anything else. It sounds like to me, you're going to need to get his complete focus just to go through the door and down the sidewalk before his reward can be going busy. But he does have to go busy. So, maybe just throw him out the back and then you can work on focus and engagement and walking out the front door.
Okay.
Maybe one weekend I can come over and help you.
Okay, great. Sean stopped by once and we've kind of curbed our pulling while we're walking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when he goes busy, when I've taken him like into a parking lot and there's a little grassy area next to me. Anything new, like when he sees people like you all were talking about before, he just wants to go and love on everybody because he's a lover of everybody. He pulls a lot. He's gotten much better because I literally hand feed him while I'm walking him to keep his focus. And I've been doing, Sean told me I've been doing it for like the past 5 weeks now. But I cannot get him to stop pulling, even with treats in my hands. When he goes busy, I cannot redirect him to come back to me.
So go back to the engagement work that I was talking about and work on watch me.
Okay.
It's taken, like the dogs that we have now came to us not knowing their markers and not knowing watch me. and it's improved, and I can now walk down a sidewalk, and as I'm approaching a curve, I'm going to be stopping. So before I hit the curb though, I'm already saying, watch me. So we've gone a few strides where, okay, he's wandering and probably doing a little, like, whatever, checking out what's going on, not really paying much attention to me. But now that we're approaching the curb, I'm using watch me to, now it's time to check back in with me. So you want to do check-ins. When you're in the backyard, practice check-ins also. You know what I'm talking about when I say check-ins? If he's over in the other end of the yard, yell his name, and if he looks up, of course, just give him a good, yeah, good boy, and if he comes to you, that's even better. But if he looks up and looks at you, he's checking in on you. That's good. Reward that.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, when do you say no and when do you say stop?
I'm not sure, Janet. Is Janet still on, or she
Yes,
signed
she
out?
is. No, she's
Okay.
here.
I don't use stop except for stop with autism, or
Right.
the dog stops. I use or no.
Uh-huh.
Those are
Or-
the
Or
re-
wait.
the
I mean, I don't
or
think-
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a stop command unless we're doing it specifically with an autistic child.
Right.
Right.
So there shouldn't be no stop.
No.
And
Then what
if
are we
you don't-
stopping?
And you don't want to say a lot of no's. We use let me use this
Right. What-
how many times do you have a conversation with somebody else? Well, no, I don't want to go to lunch with you today. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not today. Or
Yep.
And
to a child.
and is yes, Janet's right, because we do use that more than no.
Yes.
What can you give a specific of what they're wanting to stop or say no to, or just anything?
That's just all the questions.
Barking.
Oh, quiet.
Quiet, yeah.
Quiet. That's a very firm quiet. They
Well,
know
and-
quiet, or they should.
Right, and you got to look at the whole context of the situation. Why are they barking? And
Right.
dealing with barking is, like I said, it's a situational thing.
Yep.
Throw them a nylabone to shut them up if that works. Peanut butter on it or something.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, he's very alerted to things.
Alerted, like really aware.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's very
yeah.
aware. Even
Yeah.
the things above, he's amazing. He's so smart. He's unbelievable. But
How long have you had them?
about a month.
Okay, so a lot of that's just the coming out.
coming out. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Out of prison.
Yep.
Environmental.
Yep. But it
So
should-
quiet
should be
is what you
quiet.
said.
Yes. Quiet.
Yeah,
Okay, so a dog's been
that's going to take some time. These new
Yeah.
dogs that have been in prison for a long time are experiencing a lot of these things in life for the first time.
Yep.
Mm.
Barking when they hear sounds, even in their vest at work, other than quiet. How should I handle this? He also growls. Who is this? Oh, Jen. Okay, Jen Ryan. So Jen, is he barking just when he hears sounds or when he sees people, or?
Both. Yeah, so like today at work, he'll be under the desk and then he will hear a noise and he'll start barking, and then growling a little bit. And then even like Suzanne, who's on, has seen him. He will bark at people. Today also, we came out, we were leaving the office and he saw someone and he started barking at them and growling, but he's happy. Like he's,
Did you tell
excited and not.
Did you
I tell him
to quiet?
quiet. Yep, I try and do a really good firm quiet, and he
Mhm.
still, but he also does it. He also growls when he's excited when people are petting him.
So
too.
like it's like the little golden growl that they have.
Yeah,
How old is he,
Yeah.
Jen?
he's 16 months.
And he came out of prison recently?
Yep, I just got him 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully, yeah.
Give those people a treat. Give them a piece of kibble. Give them a treat. Let them realize that people out in public are good right now. How long was he in prison?
I think just 7 months.
Okay.
You're breaking up, Janet.
Um,
She froze.
okay. I'm gonna step in. What might help is find someplace out in public and just sit with him.
Yeah.
And kind of help him to just settle.
Yep.
And not be so environmentally aware. And
So-
then, and remember to reward him when he's laying there nicely and not being all spooked and like, what's that? What's that? When he settled, pay attention to his sigh, pay attention for that body shift, have him do a down. And when you see that body shift to relax, really reward that.
I will take.
Okay, and
Service,
it's,
take them and feed them out there, feed their breakfast.
As well.
yeah, he's fine. Like I've taken him to Publix many times and he is fine in the store and nobody bothers him. I've even had people like come around the corner and he's okay. It's just, it seems to be like if he's laying down and resting and then he hears something, then it sets him off.
So it's like a startle.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Well, maybe set it up in your house or in the backyard. It's probably hopefully, in the next few weeks he'll get over it. If he's just coming out of prison.
Right.
No, I mean those noises happen in prison. I've been in some of the prisons where it's so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the can you guys hear me?
Yes. Now.
One of the things too, remember that these dogs in prison are not used to being in the dark. Because they always have lights on. We've had some dogs come out and be startled for the darkness.
Every time you talk, Janet, you freeze up.
I've had one that was startled by the dark, and what I did with that one is I left the bathroom light on, and then I made it into a night light until it just got slowly dimmer and darker, and it took a little while, but that's how I got over the dark issue for that dog.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally afraid of their own shadow.
After 4 weeks, Google suddenly started going nose first into small waste baskets, fishing for Kleenex or napkins. And after he gets something he wants to run away with it, how to train leave it. Pick up the garbage cans.
Well, and set it up so that you can stay on it. It's like having a 2-year-old.
Yep.
You don't give the dog free rein. Put him on a short leash or a long line so you can grab it when you want to set it up so that you can catch him and catch it before he's going already in the trash can. Like if he just if you're in the kitchen and cutting up dinner and all of a sudden he takes off somewhere, you want to be able to catch that before.
Yep.
He's been self-rewarded. And it's really hard to break that. Garbage cans with lids.
That's what also, one way to prevent it is managing it by lids and putting them up.
Yeah, we put ours up. Because
Keeping back doors closed where they can't get to laundry and little baskets helps too.
You have to childproof your house and then set up the situation when you want to train it.
Right.
So what is that setup though? I was wondering, should I just have him be there and put the these are small waste baskets, like in the bathroom, like it next to the desk, should I just put that next to him and tell him to leave it? I'm not sure what to do.
What I do is I keep my bathroom door closed. I happen to have a dog. Goose loves anything in the laundry basket or the trash can. So my bathroom doors are closed. Now he's going to follow me to the bathroom because they all do. I use every time I go to the bathroom as an opportunity to work that leave it.
Some of the best training is in the bathroom.
I do it every time I go in because I'm going to have to. And I just make sure that all of the resources are out of his reach when I'm not there, so that I can stop it. And the trash can is literally right next to me. So even if he goes after it, I can give them that quick correction, or I can grab it if he's faster than me. And it has been helping. So.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, we're all frozen. all right, I'm gonna step in. You don't want to, like you had mentioned about put the trash can next to him and tell him to leave it. The only time you want to do that is if that dog has a solid leave it. And Google, I think, is a young pup, right? No, actually he's not. Okay.
Oh, he's 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to, you want to work on leave it first, make sure it's pretty solid. Then you can put the trash can and teach him to leave it. And I wouldn't put it next to him. I would take him to that situation, go into the bathroom. And as soon as you see him look at that trash can, leave it. That's where you have to stay on top of it. Because if he's looked at it and he's already going, I want to check out what's in there. And then you catch it when his nose is in the trash can, you've lost that moment of opportunity of training. He's already done the bad deed. You want to catch it when he's processing it and looking at it.
Okay, thank you.
So Gregor is older and he is humping. Is Gregor fixed, April?
Yes, Gregor's fixed.
Okay, and he is humping a few
Blinker. Anytime she runs into the room, wherever we are.
So yeah, any tricks?
No, you say leave it, and he's on his way. It's bad. He thinks he
I'd put him on a leash.
I do.
And I'd keep him on a leash. I wouldn't let him anywhere near her.
Okay. She's not in heat either, so it's
She's
weird.
Yeah, is it just that dog or any dog, or is he excited when it's happening?
It's just her. Oh yeah, he gets excited.
A lot of times people think dogs are humping because they're trying to be dominant or whatever. It's more of just they're aroused. It's an arousal thing.
Libby, that dog just came out of heat not too long ago too. It's one of our breeder dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Still smell it.
I even tried putting a diaper on her still, even though she wasn't in heat, to try to keep the smell, and that didn't work.
So then,
the
best bet is keep the dog on a leash and just correct him every time he goes to hump her.
Okay. She'll stop smelling eventually. It lasts a while.
Okay.
Okay. When the dog won't stop barking, what command do we use to make them stop?
Shut the fuck up. No. Oh God, quiet is supposed to be the word, but
yes, quiet is, but I think you have to be persistent. I know Tank will be like this, and as soon as I say quiet, then he'll get like a little quieter and then a little quiet, but he wants to have the last word. So I think you have to be, I know for the dogs that I've had, you have to be firm and not just like, well, if they're not gonna be quiet, I just will let them bark.
And again, it is situational. I mean, if they're just in a crate and barking for just because they're bored, then throw them something to take the boredom away. Throw something in their mouth to get them to stop barking. It's kind of situational, and we have the same problem.
Like Tank was just barking because he could hear somebody in the driveway. That's why
he's kind of alert barking. Yeah.
So, yes, he's saying, hey, somebody's out there. Should you do something? So yeah, you kind of have to figure out when we walk the neighborhood, sometimes if he sees something that he is not used to, he'll start to, I can tell when he's gearing up for it. And I'll be like,
right.
No, quiet, Tank, quiet. If I know he's going to, so anticipating sometimes, it just depends on what the bark is.
Yeah, I mean, if
for.
you see all of a sudden their ears prick up, and if you pretty much, if they're showing the signs that a bark is going to follow, trying to disengage that and shut it up before it happens. And if that means just calling them, tell them to come front and face away from the thing, that's perfect. Like what you were saying, Wendy, try and catch it before it happens. I guess again, it's situational. I mean, if it's when a car's coming in the driveway and slamming the door, then have your whole family come and, somebody sit inside with their dinner and hand feed them and have everybody out there slamming their car doors, to where he's more focused on eating dinner than the door slamming. The barking thing is there's so many, depends on the situation, and You can teach the quiet, but some situations they're going to continue to bark.
Yes. So what I'll usually do if Tank isn't barking or Hess isn't barking, I will ask them, I will tell them to speak, and then what they will speak, and then I'll say quiet and good quiet. So you kind of want to get them to speak when they're not speaking, and then make sure that they quiet when you've told them to quiet, and they connect those.
Wilson was a talker when he was a puppy.
Yeah, a lot of our puppies are, I think. Well,
yeah, I have Wilson now, and he talks
He's
a
a
lot.
talker.
He's a talker, yeah, for sure.
All right, Kermit, when off leash, he will start with the zoomies, but then will run aggressively at the person, Nicole, in this case. She's been lifting her knee up, but not sure if that's the proper way to correct this behavior. I would not lift my knee up.
And keep your knees bent, because if they do hit you, you won't damage your knees.
Well, I mean, he's coming straight up at me. So and like a long time ago, we had a situation with a dog that was doing that, not in New Horizons. And someone had told me just to lift my knee if he saw the knee up or got hit in the chest, but I don't know what else to do.
You can kill a golden by kneeing them in the chest like that. You don't want to do that. There's a way to do it, like in Muay Thai, but it's not a direct knee up. So I won't go there. But no, your best thing is to get out of the way, turn around, and the best thing is to shut it down before he's running at you. Dog gets the zoomies. Get out of his way and let him get it over with.
Can you get near your house? Like, can you stay? Like, I know my dogs do. I get near my house so that if I get pushed, I'm near something that I can hold on to.
Yeah, I could do that, but I mean, the dog, I would never trust him off leash if anybody else was around. He almost took me out the first time, and he'll do it every single time he's off leash. He is super aggressive and barking at me, but literally runs 100 miles an hour right at me. So I can only let him loose if there isn't anyone around. I just don't know how to correct it at all. I mean, it's pretty aggressive.
And how old is he?
He's like 2 and 4 months.
So he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's 70 pounds. He's a big
Nicole,
dog.
Can you video it? Can you video it?
Sure.
Yeah.
It might be that don't give him that freedom. I mean, if he's that out of control, work on going out in the back. Does he do it every time he goes in the backyard?
Not every time, but he's normally on leash. But I've been trying to work with him off leash, and this has been going on for a while. It just happened tonight, which was why I wanted to ask tonight. Normally he's on leash because he was having problems busying on demand, and I've been able to work with that. But we've been working on recall, and after he does that, he will, be on his way, and then I'll say, Kermit, watch me, and he'll check in immediately. He has great recall. So I've been trying to work on things that he's good at, but there's always that chance that if someone were with me, or he's going to do it to me 100% of the time in just a very excited way. And I mean, it almost knocked me over the first time. I'm not a little person. I mean, it's really concerning moving forward with him. So I didn't know what else to do to try to get him to stop doing it. Obviously I don't want to hurt him. I hate what, but.
Yeah, like Janice said, get a video of it. It almost sounds like this has been rehearsed, and he's used to just running at somebody and jumping up at them.
Get a video of it and send it to Kate.
Okay.
I mean, there's ways you can deal with it. Get 2 long lines and have a second person. And when he gets out of control, then just shut it down with the long line. The person on the other end can just tighten it, and he's not going anywhere. And I mean, but it's really one of those things you need to see. Nicole, are you local?
I'm down in Miami.
Oh, that's right. And I remember. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you. Yeah.
I'm open to whatever with him. I mean, he's been tremendously better on loose leash walking, but I've been working on it for 6 months, and he's doing really, really well right now. But I still can't really get him out in public. I mean, he trembles trying to get him through a Petco door. He's just beside himself, and he won't take treats. He's so nervous about 50% of the time out in public. So
when he gets the zoomies and out of control, can you get him to do a sit or a down and like, like a drop on recall type thing?
Yes.
Then shut it down that way. When he gets overly excited, he just gets out of control with himself. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, yeah, I really got to see it and deal with it. I'm open, Janet, if she wants to bring him up and we see what's going on with that.
Yeah, and I'm concerned about the severe fear factor that he's got too.
Well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm willing to come up. I'm concerned about him in general, and I've been working with him for a while now. And like I said, he's definitely improved, but there's some really scary things that he does. And he will respond. Once I get him to stop, he'll sit and look at me, and then he snaps out of it, and I'll let him, I release him. He'll sniff for a few minutes, and then I'll call him back, and he's great about coming back. So he's got some really great, qualities, but then there's some scary ones, so.
What if, like, say you have a tennis ball and he's going to charge you? What if you take the tennis ball and just flick it off to the side? Will that redirect them away from you?
I can try that. Yeah, I've not tried that.
And
to redirect
don't whip
the energy.
it. Don't whip it far. Just take it and kind of toss it away from you, so it will redirect them that way. And then once he grabs the ball, again, here we are talking about he's got something in his mouth, which might help this anxiety, and then call him in to bring the ball. And if he does, then reward him by throwing and playing fetch with him. Try that. Kind of like, you got to see it. You got to see it in action in order to really see what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So your job, Nicole, is to video.
Okay.
Anchor it was 24 months, gets really excited, wiggly, loud, jumpy when we let him out of his crate. Out of control nuts and can't focus. No commands register when he's like this. Thankfully, it only lasts a minute or two, but what should we do? Ignore, walk away calmly. So are you making him wait before you let him out of your crate? Are you telling him to wait? This was from, I think it's Leah. Is that right?
No, we have not tried to tell him to wait. He starts to get excited like when he sees us approach the crate.
You should absolutely make him wait before you open that door. Like stand outside the crate and tell him wait. And when he settles and they get that wiggly, I would just wait. Mm-hmm. And then as you start to open it, if he looks like he's going to crash through, I would hold the door and tell him to wait. I know that has worked. And then once he settles or seems to settle, then maybe open the crate door slowly and see.
They're going to come out. Give that minute, I ignore him for that minute and a half. And
the nylabone in his mouth.
Give him a toy and just ignore it for the next 30 seconds.
But he should be waiting every time he comes out of that crate.
Yeah.
And not charging out like a rhino.
And be careful what you're doing. Leah, you may be doing something that's getting him excited when he comes out. Comes out of the crate. Don't be reinforcing that excitement by like, oh, come on, let's come. It's people inadvertently do it without even realizing you're doing it. Just be very quiet, very settled yourself. So when he comes out, he's not overly stimulated by you.
Yeah, he gets really excited when he sees my kids when he gets out of the crate. So I've started to tell them not to let him out of the crate, that's my job.
Yep.
Yeah, and see, and it could be the kids going up there and being excited. And
go up and walk up to the crate, say hello, and then move away. So not every time you're going up to the crate is that he's getting out.
Right. He could be associating that with, oh, I'm getting out.
Okay, yeah, he definitely is, because we haven't tried doing that at all. That's a really good tip. Yeah, we'll try working on that.
Is this like in the morning or just anytime?
In the morning, especially.
Yeah, so I would make him wait in his crate for a little bit before you let him out. Just make him wait.
Okay. I think it might also be because we sleep upstairs, but his crate is downstairs. So there's a lot of excitement, I think, that builds up because first he hears us that we're up and we're moving around upstairs. And then we actually come downstairs. And I think that excitement is just like building up for him so that by the time the crate door opens, he can't contain himself anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, work on making him wait.
All right. We'll do that. Thank you.
So we have a dog who was neutered a couple weeks ago, but also had a cyst removed and had to wear a large cone. As a result of the cone being large, he didn't sleep in his crate. yesterday he had the stitches removed and was cleared to go without the cone, but last night he refused to go into the crate. So tried all kinds of treats, but to no avail. Tried to lead him into the crate. So I would start by feeding him in the crate. Feeding him will get him to go in there, or should.
He won't go in the crate with the cone on, is that
Well,
what
no,
it was?
the cone has been, so he couldn't go in the crate when he had the cone, I guess because the cone was too big.
Right.
Crate wasn't big enough. And now he's had the cone, he's been cleared to not wear the cone, and he wouldn't go in the crate after he's been out for X amount of time.
Oh my God, I think my dog's giving me a message here.
We only have a couple more questions. Hang in
Yeah,
there.
that's fine.
Anything else besides feeding him in his crate?
I would make him go in that crate.
Yeah, he's gotten used to not going in because of the cone, and now he's like, well, this is what I want to do.
Yep.
But how do you make it? How do you make him go in?
Okay, be firm about it. Don't be, militant or kind of like, don't get mad. You got to kind of like take in 3 deep breaths, but be firm. Like, get in that kennel, get in the crate, and like she said, feed him. Throw a toy in there, whatever motivates him to go in, use it. And then, just keeping it motivated and rewarding it,
And when in doubt, too, you get him in there. If you get through it the first or second time, then if you can win, it will.
Yep.
So it's okay to physically try to push him in there?
You got to be really careful when you force it, because you don't want it to be a punishment.
Right.
Can
That's
you
why
go
I
in there?
didn't do that.
Can you go
No,
in
it's
the street?
I no, but it's got 2 doors, like it has one on one end and one in the middle. So I tried to lead him with the leash, with to the treat, and that didn't work.
Figured out that he can outwit her.
Yeah. He's manipulating. He's pushing your buttons.
I know, and he's really stubborn. I mean, he just.
Do you only have one dog
with
with you right now, or do you have more than one? Okay,
just one. And he just laid down. He just wasn't going to move.
Hey, yeah. At some point, when he lays down and he's challenging you, like, I'm not going in, be firm about it. Try snapping a leash to him and saying, "Let's go." You'd be surprised. Usually that works.
Yeah.
Are we sure he's not afraid that when the cone would bang into the crate, it was fearful, and he doesn't realize he's not going to make that scary noise anymore?
Well, he didn't go. That's the problem. He didn't go in the
crate. He didn't go in the crate with the cone because it was just too big. And I was afraid he had the stitches right on the top of his head, and it was pretty deep cut. It was a big cyst. And they were afraid he'd rub, even with the cone, he could rub that head on the side of the crate.
So I think he's just gotten used to it. Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're just, like they said, I think you're going to have to, is he like balls or squeaky toys?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he likes treats.
Okay.
But I tried everything. I tried, every kind of treat, and he was not going to go in there.
I was going to say my other dog, my personal dog, doesn't like to go in the kennel. So sometimes I put a little peanut butter on a spoon and I stick the spoon through. Are you allowed to do that? So I stick the spoon, like I take a metal spoon and I put a little peanut butter on it. Sean taught me that. And I stick it through, and then he runs right into the kennel. And while he's eating the peanut butter, I just close the door.
Close the door.
Oh, that's okay. I'll try that. I didn't try that. That's a good idea.
I actually have to physically pick my dog up to put him in the kennel, and I don't like doing that. I have to drag him, and he doesn't like that either. So that was our compromise. I put a spoon of peanut butter and he goes in.
Yeah.
Okay. It was kenneling before the cone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
but he had to have a treat. I mean, he had to have a treat to go in. But that was sort of our thing every night. That's when he would get his treat. Because in the beginning, when I first got him, I only had him.
What?
What was that?
You're frozen.
Yeah, I didn't getting that.
No, not either. She'll come back.
I wonder if you tried it other times of the day, not just at bedtime, and just get him in there if you can, and then let him out. Because it's not bedtime. Just
right.
Do you leave the door open so he can go in it whenever he wants?
Yeah, it's always open, but he never goes in there except before the cone, he never went in there except at night. And he pretty much, I'd just throw the treat in there, he'd go in, I'd shut the door, it was all fine.
Yeah.
Huh. It's interesting to me how many of our dogs love the crate and others of them are like, I don't really want to go in there. And they've all been crated since they were little. So Macon wants to have a stick or something in his mouth while we take walks. Is that a problem? This is a walk with no vest.
With no vest, I say is no problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact,
I wouldn't let him do it all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's,
because he could be dependent on that and it should not be mandatory for him to walk with. He's going to do both.
What helps dogs that are really anxious with leash walking is putting something in their mouth, because it does kind of take away, they're mentally processing the thing in the mouth versus their surroundings.
I don't think he's anxious.
Okay, or not anxious, but just is it a pacifier for his? I don't know. Is this dog young or old?
7 months. 7 months.
Yeah.
Can you also maybe give him other things to hold, maybe like a small bag or something, and start to use that?
A dumbbell.
Yeah.
Like something we use, that might be a good idea too. Occasionally, not all the time, but make it worth something and make it something that'll build on for an actual use where they carry a small bag, or Nestle carries my Diet Coke bottles all the time. She does that for me. Of course, I don't open it right now.
Carried a small basket. She'd carry it through Walmart. She'd carry it all over the place. We started training her to do that because she liked to pick up rocks and carry them in her mouth all the time. So the basket helped prevent that.
Yeah.
And it was cute. Everybody thought it was really cute.
It could be a little bit of some resource guarding starting with that also, because it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to walk with a stick and nobody's going to mess with my stick. I don't know. Again,
so maybe one time it should be with something and the next time it shouldn't be.
Yeah. But putting something in the dog's mouth when you are doing leash work, I find it does distract them from the whole, the whole leash work environment. And with it being 7 months, I don't know. Again, I would have to kind of see the whole situation, seeing how he's carrying that stick, like he's carrying it proud.
Okay, there's another video job somebody needs to send to Kate.
Yeah, because if he's carrying that stick like he's proud of it and this is mine, that could develop into a little bit of a possessive resource guarding type situation.
Right.
Okay.
And he lives with a bunch of other dogs and a couple of great people. There's a lot of dogs in that group.
So there probably is a little bit of that going on. This is my stick, my moment, and I'm going to keep it.
Maybe. All right, this dog gets on the bed with enthusiasm, but does not get off with just one off.
Hook a leash to it, have somebody controlling the leash,
Yep.
say off, and if he doesn't listen, pull him off.
Yeah.
Remember to reward when he's doing the right thing, though.
Right. Yep.
Let him know when he's doing the right thing. Let them know, let him or her know, whatever.
Just curious, with pups in prison, do we have trainers that go there to teach the prisoners how to train the dogs, and how often do they go?
Hopefully that's going to start back, yes.
Okay, so
It's not already, I
Yeah.
think, right?
I know they weren't doing it
Yeah.
during COVID.
Yeah, I think they've already started back
Okay.
recently.
When I say sit, he sits, but ends up going down. Yeah. So
Is that on tile?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Is he slipping?
Linda has Wallace. Is he slipping on the tile, Linda? Is Linda still here? Linda? She's here. Linda. Wait a minute. Can you unmute?
Unmute. I'm unmuted.
Okay,
Yes,
there you go.
it's tile floor.
Try it on a different surface and see what he does.
Yep.
Okay.
And if he's still going down, no, sit means sit, down means down.
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard for him to stay upright on tile.
Yes, because their legs do slip out.
And if you're having him sit, I'd often just default and have my dog do it down on tile instead of trying to have him sit.
Okay.
We said that good was an acceptable marker, correct, earlier? Right, Libby?
Yeah, it's not in the manual, like I said, I use it as a duration. I think in the manual, it's not used as duration, right? It's just another marker.
It's just another marker, yes.
Kind of, I think actually the good is used as a finished task, I believe in the manual.
Right.
Maybe
A good enforcer.
Yeah.
Like when you say good, watch me, you say watch.
So it's like a bridge, used as a bridge in some. So, I mean, okay, that would also be for duration. I just think it needs to be defined a little more,
Okay.
And
so
when you're training markers, it's very important, like for duration, you don't want the dog to move from his position. So you take the treat to the dog's mouth. When you mark yes, they finished the task. It's okay for them to come to the marker. Part of the whole reward, it's actually a reward event. It's an event. It's not just giving them the treat. It's yes. And the event is, okay, I can get up and I can move around or whatever, you can. So that's one way of fading out the treat, because it's become an event of a little bit of excitement. You can add tactile to it, which is touching. And okay, I can't hear what you're saying, Wendy.
No, I
thought you were talking. Sorry.
I was
I may be going too far ahead there, but it becomes an event rather than just a reward. And this is every time you use the word yes. Whereas it just helps fade away treats, and the dog looks forward to that, that yes.
Right. Okay, so when you say when the dog is retrieving an item, right now I feel like we should just be sure they can retrieve an item, and the question is, should we be able to say, look, get it, or should they learn names of items? Like get the phone, get the whatever.
If you want to start training them the different items, that's great. Yeah. But honestly, I'd rather a dog come to us with good leash manners and no retrieve. Leash manners is the biggest problem. And again, it's like smoking cigarette. If they've been doing this bad behavior for 2 years, I might get them to quit, but they aren't going to do it for someone that's maybe not as strong-willed, strong physically or strong-minded, to be very determined about, leash manners. I would much rather have to train a dog, retrieve, tug, and this and that than to fix bad leash manners.
Because if you're stuff a bunch, do like the phone or the vest. Don't pick a ton. Pick just a couple of things. The keys.
Keys and phone, I think, are ideal. The two most important things, probably, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
And your leash. Get your leash. Honestly, we could have a dog that can fly me to New York and cook me to dinner, but you know what? If it can't walk in on leash, it can't be a service dog.
Yep.
So the priority is leash manners.
Yep.
Okay.
Victor, 18 months old, is drooling in the car. No, I'm sorry. Victor, who was in prison for 18 months, is drooling, apparently big time, because it's drool in big letters. Lots of car rides. Any other tips? I mean, lots of car rides, or just going to the car and sitting in the car without riding in it, without going anywhere.
He's drooling when he gets in the car. Is it
I think like
stimulating this?
I think it's a nervous thing.
Yeah,
it's a nervous drool when we're in the car. He had never, when we first got him, he was terrified of the car, but we're good. He can load nicely now, and he goes and lays down perfectly between the seats, but he just is like gallons of drool all over the car.
Yeah, it's good. That's going to take time. And I would say feed him in the car. Just sit in the car with him. Don't every time be a car ride.
Right. It doesn't have to move. I mean, it is possible that he does get motion sickness or whatever. My one Aussie absolutely hated cars, and he still doesn't really like to go for car rides, but we work him through it. Get them to associate good things in the car.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dina, it sounds like you're doing a great job with him. So this might be something.
Oh, I was so scared with that dog, but he's doing much better. 18 months in was a little long for him, but he's doing good. So thank you all for
So Schroeder, who's a little older, has had problems in the past with humping. He's occasionally trying to do it when I was walking. I thought it was gone, but alas, no. Okay, so he still does the humping, but how often is it, Cheryl? I don't know.
It's not very often. And yeah, I thought he was cured of it because he hadn't done it for so long. And then just recently, he tried it when one of my friends, when we were leaving.
He didn't do it
they
to
were
you.
out they were leaving. He goes up and he kind of just puts his arms around their leg, and most of my friends know. I said, and they go, but for him to be a service dog, he can't do that. So is there anything else that he should do? I mean,
He can be, he's doing this when he's off leash in your house. Yeah, he doesn't do it out in public, does he?
No, he was on leash. He doesn't do it in the house. I've had company in the house when I'm in the house, and I have company in the house. He doesn't do it. We were walking friends. We had a couple that we are with all the time. We were walking them out to their golf cart and saying goodbye and chatting right by their golf cart. And he goes over to, and it's always a woman, he goes over to Sue Page and he does his little starting to wrap his arms around her leg. And I had told her while she was there, if he does that, you go, and so she did it right away. And then he backed off and I had him on the leash. But he did it the other day when I was outside walking, and it was at night. I had all three of the dogs, and they were on leash, and they just stopped and they were chatting, and Schroeder got closer to my neighbor and again started to do it a little bit. And she's my next door neighbor, and she went, but that was twice within the last 3 weeks, and he hadn't done it forever. So
Well, it sounds like you just needed to practice that again and set it up so that you can correct it.
Yep.
Yes, and remember when you say if he backs off and sits, reward, let him know he did the right thing also.
Okay.
What if you just put him at a sit stay when people walk up to him?
Yeah, I can do that. It's one of those things that with his previous owner, George was mortified because he didn't know he was a humper, and he went to go visit his cousin, and he was staying at their house, and when she was out there fixing breakfast, he went and he was humping his 70-year-old cousin. So I just wanted to make sure it's not a problem for the next person that gets them. So
right.
Try and prevent it.
So I didn't know if there's any way to.
Well, prevent it before it starts, and that it means watching him, and as soon as you see him moving to go towards someone, catch it and stop it. Put him in a sit stay if you're going to stop and talk to somebody. When you're out walking, to help the butt on the ground keeps you out of trouble. And then this way, at least if he's sitting, if you see him stand. Now that's a signal that, he may possibly go try and hump, and try and catch it before it starts. And then,
and don't practice it, set it up, so you can get on his case again because he's gotten sloppy. The behavior is diminished, but it's not extinguished.
Right.
Unfortunately,
I thought it was.
Well, unfortunately, that may mean walking with just him instead of all three, where you can focus on training him. I get it. It's like,
at nighttime. Yeah, at nighttime we just go real quick around the block, though. I'm not doing 3 laps around the.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Cheryl. Okay, what if they will not go busy on command? And this is for an older dog. I think if they're not going to go busy when you go outside, then they miss their chance.
How old? You mean like 2 years old?
Like 2 years old. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If they're not going to go and you give them a chance. Too bad. So sad.
Yeah. Eventually they'll get it.
Hold it.
Eventually they'll get it. That.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Trigby has a pronounced play growl. I thought we addressed this, but maybe we didn't. Should this be discouraged? I would say yes. I mean,
Well, is it during
what's-
play with other
what's the
dogs?
Situation.
No, not so much with us. He has a toy in his mouth and he obviously is begging to play. And it's more with the males than it is with me, my son and my husband. But
He's a Wyland son, he's talking.
it's yeah, it sounded like a Wyland did it too.
Goldens talk. They'll interact with you and talking, you know.
He did, yeah.
He's trying to get them to engage with him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's playtime. Is it during playtime? I mean, they
Yes,
talk to you.
it's definitely a play thing.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. When
I see you guys have, 1 second, you guys have power, but they're in Texas outside of Dallas.
We just cut it.
Yeah,
We
we
have
got it.
water
Yeah.
and heat.
Wow.
So exciting.
Yay.
They've been collecting snow the last couple days to melt, so.
Nice. Okay, somebody who does the My Lap, the dog does it fine, but they also start humping right away. So how do you correct that since he did the command correctly, but then he starts humping?
Again, it's probably just arousal, you know, and what you want to stop it.
Instinct, you know, it's just.
Yeah.
I would, if once he gets up onto the lap, then go, you know, if he starts humping, and just kind of stop, correct that part of the behavior, but then reward that good my lap. And if he starts doing hump, stop that, you know.
Stop it. And maybe if you can get him to stretch more across your lap, it might prevent it, because you know, he might be in a situation where he can't hump as easily, you know, where his front end is kind of stretched out. Kind of play with that and see if that will prevent it. Getting to that, I'm getting a lot of dogs that are doing My Lap and dropping the retrieve item. I don't know where it's developing, whether it's between prison or with the razors, but it's really bad. You know, I'm thinking, are a lot of people misunderstood of the My Lap with the retrieve item? They're supposed to hold it until we say give or drop it in our hand.
Okay.
So just cover, if Wendy, you know, when everybody that you're dealing with,
Yep.
My Lap with a retrieve item. No, oh wait, I'll take that back. It's what I'm getting is dogs, like if I say, if a dog is retrieving something and I tell them My Lap, they're coming over and just dropping it in my lap. They're not getting up in my lap.
Okay, so they need to be up in your lap and holding the item until you tell them to give.
Right. They're bringing it over and just dropping it in my lap.
Okay.
So
They shouldn't be doing that. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
It's my lap and hold it until they say drop it or give.
A minute, I lost you guys. There we go. Okay. Anything else, Janet or Libby or Sue, anybody that wants to share anything? Otherwise, we're gonna call it to a close. I don't see any other questions. We've covered all of them, I think. Hope. Don't think I missed any. Anybody want to add something? You got 1 minute.
Well, one of the things I would kind of like to add that I haven't seen mentioned or heard mentioned is that dogs read our body language. They read our facial expressions really well. So when he's doing something good, you should look really happy. And when he's doing something bad, don't hold back. Use the mom face. I mean, you're mad at him and look mad. You don't have to yell. You don't have to punish. You don't have to hit. You don't have to anything. But he should get the understanding that that was bad and you're upset. You know, even a little glare. Dogs are really sensitive to eye movements.
Yeah.
So
Gene can do the mom face really good.
Yeah.
They are very in tune to your body movements and your facial big time. Yep.
Yeah, so especially if they're doing something that is not a good behavior, but it's obviously coming from an area where they're upset, you can't be really nice because that's just showing approval of that behavior. You need to, you know, shut it down. So sometimes you have to use more of a stern look and more of a stern voice so that they can understand that that behavior is inappropriate.
Right. Right. Anything else? Last call.
I have a question. Are we still gonna have a training session in the end of this month?
In person, yes, and it's going to be at Daytona 1. Kate will send an email out. Just confirm that with the director this evening, so yes, Daytona 1.
For those training sessions, I mean, we're in Texas, so we're obviously not going to make Daytona.
Obviously.
Is it possible for somebody to maybe video and record some of those types of things? So especially highlights, if you guys have any highlights on those sessions that you can share with us, that may be, something that you could, do during the training sessions too, those Zoom meetings.
Yes, somebody did tape some of it last time. Yeah, we'll try to do more of that. We get into training and I think we forget, so because we're in it, but yeah.
Somebody be in charge of doing like a live session?
Oh, possibly.
Just set up a tripod and run it.
With technology these days, we should be able to go.
We should, yes. True. Go live from New Horizons.
Then we would be live.
Okay, Libby, thank you so much. Thank you, Susan. Thank you guys this was awesome.
Thank you. We're gonna try to do Hey, one last thing. We're gonna set these up on a regular basis so we can do it more often.
Yes. Yeah, so we did 2 Zooms this month and we have an in-person training. So next month we'll try to set the dates enough ahead in advance so you know.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Great job, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Libby.
Yeah, thank you all very much. This was great.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Libby.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How do I sign off here?
You're here forever, Libby.
There should be a leave button.
Reactions, record, share, chat.
All the way down the bottom on the right-hand side.
Leave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bye. There you go.
Bye.
Bye.